Creators, what do you do when someone you trust changes the rules? Tonight you're going to meet a young woman named Tamia. Tamia lives with her best friend, or so she thought, because one day her best friend made a decision that changed everything. She moved her man in to the house without saying a word. Now Tamia feels betrayed, disrespected, blindsided, and she's ready to walk away from both the rental agreement and the relationship for good. So tonight we're exploring a higher question. But tonight we're exploring a higher question because when trust is broken, we tend to make our next move from anger, from hurt, from the story in our head about what should have happened. But what if there is another place to move from? A deeper place, a wiser place, a place untouched by betrayal. That's why tonight Tamia isn't here just to tell her story. She's here as your mirror. Because all of us have been personally offended by somebody who did us wrong, by someone who didn't act the way we thought they should. But it's in those moments where our next question becomes, who is choosing your next decision? Is it pain or is it loving awareness? Keep it locked. Because tonight we explore what happens when the real you stops taking life personally. But without further ado, if you're ready to live free beyond fear, welcome here. I'm Dr. Shawn, and I believe you do not need years to heal. You just need one real breakthrough. That's why I invented Transcendent Psychology, and I test it in the real world, on real people, on my game show, Countdown to Breakthrough, the only game show that heals your soul. Right now, you're on the Breakthrough Live, where we break down the science of healing so that you get your own breakthrough live. On today's show, we are speaking with a young woman on the street named Tamia. And this conversation with Tamia is going to set up our lab experiment for the evening. When we enter the Conscious Transformation Laboratory tonight, our exploration question, our research question for the evening is, what happens when the real you stops taking life personally? The other way of saying that is, what happens when awareness itself stops being personal? Before we can even get to that question, we must get to the street. Let's hear from Tamia right now. Here we go. That's already within you. Okay, for handling any life challenge in 7 minutes. If I don't serve you in 7 minutes, I owe you cash just for taking your time today. Are you up to play?
What's the game like?
Right.
Is it like riddles?
No. This is about accessing the power of you.
Okay.
Right? So this particular game is actually going to be about love, and that's why I'm wearing the red.
Okay,
And so,
snazzy.
oh, thank you. And so, if you are up to play, then we'll go ahead and get started.
Okay, sure.
Ready? Okay. All right. Here we go. So,
Can I put my?
yes. I'm gonna put mine down too. You probably don't want. You can put yours on top of mine.
You want to hang it up there? Yeah, hang it up there. Hang it up there.
You think so?
Yeah. Hang
But
it
this dirty. You know what I'm saying?
Just hang it like, you know.
Okay. Okay.
Like that.
Oh, thank you.
You don't put it on the ground.
Okay. So we didn't have that today.
Oh,
Okay.
So I won't look rude.
Oh, goodness. As a matter of fact, this is a new age microphone. This is kind of like think of it like a regular mic that you would MC with, and just hold it right down here. This would be perfect.
Like that?
Yeah, you could even put it on you if you so chose. Perfect.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do I stand right here or?
Yeah. Is she good? She's good here? Excellent.
Okay.
Okay, so here we go. And one more time, your name?
Tamia.
Tamia.
Yours
okay,
is?
I'm Shawn.
Hi, Shawn.
Yes.
Okay.
And this is the Dr. Shawn channel. We're doing Countdown to Breakthrough. I am here with Tamia. Like the singer?
Yeah.
I really like... Okay, anyway, so I'm here with Tamia. And Tamia, right now, for this particular game, I need you to think of a relationship. Somebody that... It could be a mother, it could be a father, it could be a boyfriend, it could be a girlfriend, it could be a best friend. Think of that person and think about the last time they pissed you off, the last time they said something that just made you go, come on, really? Let me know when you get it.
Okay.
Okay, excellent. Now, who is this person and what did they say?
My best friend.
Okay, best friend, okay.
Yes. So she is talking to a guy now, and she decided to move him in without telling me, so that's a little tensious.
I see. Okay,
Yeah.
so because there's a lot of things, right? She didn't tell you, but it feels like perhaps there's a new body in the space, and perhaps the space feels like it's closing in a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then also the sense that these are the sorts of things that I would expect you to tell me as your best friend, right? Okay, let's work with that. 7 minutes on the clock starts right now. Here we go. Right now, I want you to see your best friend inside of your mind's eye. Let me know when you see him.
Okay, her.
Yeah, yes, see them. I meant see her. Yes, excellent. Okay. And right now, hold your hands up at your heart level, just like this.
Okay.
Excellent. Beautiful, beautiful. Okay. And so, right now, feel this in between your hands. A ball of white light.
Okay.
And this white light is love.
Okay.
I want you to see and feel this white light aggregating, collecting inside of in between your hands. And feel this white light. Feel it as love itself.
Okay.
Let me know when you have it.
I feel it. I feel like I can see it, actually.
Beautiful.
Okay.
Yes. We're tapping in.
All right.
And so now, I want you to send this ball of white love light to your best friend. Watch the ball of white love light enter her chest and see how she responds. Watch her shoulders relax. Oh, a soft smile is starting to grow on her face now. Ooh, hold on. Stay with me. Now, repeat these words. You're going to bless this light and repeat these words.
Okay.
You are growing more and more beautiful.
You are growing more and more beautiful.
Every day.
Every day.
In every way.
In every way.
Excellent. She's received it. And right now, she's got a full smile. It went from being a little smile to a full smile. Oh my gosh. She's having such a good day. In fact, I say it's a great day. Say thank you to yourself. Say thank you to your best friend for being in your life.
Thanks.
And say thank you to God for allowing this power to flow through you.
Thank you, God, for allowing this power to flow through me.
Excellent. And so when you're ready, drop your hands.
Okay.
Drop your hands down to your side and come right back here with me. Excellent. And so let me ask you this. How did it feel to send love to your best friend?
In this time of termality?
Yeah, right now, just this moment. Like, how did it feel to send love to her just now?
I mean, it was okay.
Yes.
But, it's just certain things that you can't just send love and gratification for. It's boundaries and it's respect.
Absolutely.
And most people don't understand that.
So you're feeling that it's time to set those boundaries. You can feel that those boundaries are required. Right? But that the love that's inside of her, right? Because you put it there just now. Does it feel like the situation is bigger or smaller?
Now?
Yeah.
Still feels the same. It's like 50-50.
Okay, so it still feels the same. But my question is, when you send love to people, do you think that tends to make the situation feel bigger or smaller?
My honest answer?
Yes.
Bigger.
Why's that?
Because when somebody going through something and like you're going through something and it's like emotions bouncing back and energy bouncing off of each other, it's hard to just be like, oh, give me a hug, I love you, and everything is gonna be suppressed.
Yeah.
It's not, it's deeper than that.
I don't count love as being something that you're trying to suppress anything.
Mm-hmm.
It's only just acknowledging that this person is a part of your life for a reason.
Well, what if you don't want that person in your life anymore?
Okay, so that's helpful though. You know what I'm saying? It's helpful to know that, wait, I love myself enough to step away from this relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And so is that what you're feeling right now?
That's what's going on.
Okay, so that tells me right now that if you feel that, that means that the love for you just kind of is showing, right? Because you're saying, no, I deserve better than this.
Yeah.
Right? So if you know that about yourself and you know that that's the case, what does that feel like?
It feels good.
Yeah, it feels good. It feels good to be like, yo, I know who I am and I know what I deserve.
Yeah, and I'm gonna stand on it.
And I'm gonna stand on that 10 toes.
Yeah.
And so
10.
all
10. I like
10,
that.
right? So
You just got real gangster.
if you understand that though, that this love, it doesn't work just for them, it works for you.
Mm-hmm.
And sending that love to you helps you feel, do you feel more confident, more peaceful in saying, hey, look, I'm ready to go?
I do.
So that's what I mean is this love, the beautiful thing about it is it works on you just the same and allows you to say, hey, listen, I know what resonates with the destiny that God has for me and I know what doesn't. And I can say goodbye to you without being disrespectful, but just knowing that our paths, they must deviate at this point.
True.
And if that's true for you, it's loving yourself enough to say, I know what I'm destined for and I know who I'm destined for.
True.
And I'm willing to stand on that because I love me, right? And so that's really the thing that I wanted to be able to share with you today, is having that love for you, because you deserve it too.
I know.
To me, a gangster though. Okay.
So are you. You didn't see how
appreciate
you
you.
got into that stance? Like, literally, when you was like 10 toes, you just was like, real
I'm just mirroring
G.
your energy. Yeah, because that's what I feel. I feel that strength. I feel that strength coming from you.
You know, I saw you this morning on the other side of the park.
Well, see, I had to come over and say something to you because this message is just that important. It's just that powerful. If I can get you to walk away and be stronger, not because I gave you something, but because you tapped into something different. Let me ask you, do we have to go anywhere to the store to buy this feeling of love? Do we have to go anywhere to buy that self-love?
No.
Of course not.
I've always had self-love, though.
So the question is then, if you have it and you're walking in it, it becomes so much easier to walk away, right? And that's the real benefit that I just wanted to remind you of. Not something I'm giving you, just something I'm reminding you.
Well, thanks.
Thank you.
Right into the camera.
Is that good?
Okay, Tamia, shout out to you for coming on the show. Folks, that was a doozy, you know what I'm saying? Like, listen, we run up on people on the random and we look to share this insight to provide somebody with a breakthrough that they didn't expect. And not all the time does it work, you know what I'm saying? Like there is sometimes when it's just kind of like, did that get through? I don't know. And so with Tamia, it was like, did you notice that Tamia sort of had this reaction where she's like, okay, I can feel it. I can nearly see this love as I'm holding it in between my hands and imagining it accumulating in the space between my palms. So she's saying, I can feel it. I can almost see it, right? She's starting to tap in. She's starting to connect her imagination with her lived experience, with her reality. She's beginning to tap into her nervous system in a new way. But then you also saw, what happened when, after the exercise was done and she was left dealing in reality, there was this tension, this conflict within her. You could kind of see it happening. You could see her being like, well, I mean, it was cool, but I can't just suppress, I can't just pretend that nothing happened. And so it was so important to say, okay, who is making your next decision? If we do nothing but go through a simple exercise and then you go right back to making your decisions from pain, that ain't gonna cut it. The opportunity is to continue to make those decisions from a loving awareness, but it becomes difficult to do that when you feel so personally offended, unless you have tools for liberating yourself from experiencing life personally. And that's what we're talking about tonight. We are talking about tapping into the real you and finding out what happens when that real you stops taking life so personally. For Tamia, we got to see that, well, hold on. This love energy starts surfacing. Yes, there's boundaries, and then the anger starts to populate back up again. But then we start to see, wait a minute, there's a deeper response from love that's saying, wait, I need to honor this one as well. No need to be disrespectful, but I must honor this one as well, even in this relationship. And that can mean stepping away from the relationship. At least turning Tamia back to that realization, to that recognition that when boundaries have been violated, it is okay to restate those boundaries. And if the relationship looks like it cannot sustain itself, then it is okay to love yourself enough to leave. You dig what I'm saying? And so the reason I bring Tamia before you tonight is because she's the clearest example of what happens when we're fighting that internal struggle between getting what we want from others and being offended when people seem to break the contract that we all agreed on. When we start taking life personally because somebody feels like they personally accosted us. It got me asking the question, is there a way to liberate consciousness from this sense of personhood? Is there a way to liberate awareness from this sense of personhood in the midst of our very trials and tribulations? You know what I'm saying? That's the research question tonight. It's what we're going to be going into the laboratory to explore. And so, folks, I want to say and shout out y'all in the room. Don't think I do not see you. Okay, so who we yeah, my phone, here we go. So twin, I'm seeing you in the room saying happy Father's Day. Happy Father's Day to y'all. Happy Father's Day. I received that. Felicity's in the room. Good evening, all. Good evening, Felicity. Twin saying looking good, Dr. Shawn, young man. Oh, okay. Twin saying when they feel like life is happening to them, not for them. Absolutely. And that's the see, twin, that's exactly what I'm talking about, is that's exactly what inspired tonight's conversation. Tonight's research question is this sense of what do we do when it feels like life is happening to us, not for us? When it feels like somebody, to me, is in a situation where she feels like her best friend moved somebody in, moved a man in, put him over her after their entire relationship. She just met him, but is more willing to choose him, inconvenience her, as if their friendship didn't mean as much as to me it thought it should. You dig what I'm saying? And so it's kind of like, from that perspective, almost anybody would be offended. You know what I'm saying? This is not what we agreed on. This is not the situation. What are you doing? You know what I'm saying? Not only is my living situation a constant reminder of the disrespect, but like I can't escape this. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I live here. You dig what I'm saying? So almost anybody would be offended, and it would feel like it'd be difficult to not take things personally if we were merely following the patterns that the world had laid down for us. It'd be very difficult not to take that situation personally. That's why tonight, our exploration, our lab question as we enter the lab tonight, what we're exploring is what happens when awareness itself stops being personal. In other words, is it possible for us to become aware of ourself? And when we say self, what are we talking about? We're talking about consciousness. We're not talking about bodies, right? Bodies come and go, they change. We're not talking about names. We're not talking about forms. We're talking about who we actually are, the I. You might have heard people say the great I am, that great feeling of I am, of isness. What actually is that? Well, in short, we simply call it awareness. Why? Because we know that if the awareness disappears, then so does everything that I think, feel, know, and understand myself to be. If in this moment you are no longer conscious, then in that moment that you are no longer conscious, you are no longer. So we simply say that the self is this awareness, it is this consciousness. The issue happens when we start thinking of this consciousness as individual, as if it is, I have a separate awareness and you have a separate awareness, and this awareness is inside of this brain and body mind, and that one's inside of that brain and body mind, and somehow it has nothing to do with the space connected between us, and somehow has nothing to do with the rest of the cosmos, and somehow has nothing to do with the rest of the universe, and somehow has nothing to do with anything else. You know what I'm saying? Like somehow it's just a fluke of the universe that we have this ability to be conscious, and it's pure coincidence, and the moment that we die, the consciousness goes away. That's kind of the contemporary model of life on the planet. Of course, if you've been watching for any amount of time, you know that that don't make no sense. And so when we talk about the self, we're always talking, just as the ancients did, we're always talking about this unitary awareness. When we talk about love, we're always talking about this unitary substance that connects all. We can only know that substance if we are willing to pay attention to awareness. And so when we look tonight, we're stepping outside of the tiny self that we think we often are. We're looking at something different. Our research and lab experiment tonight is what happens when awareness stops being personal, when we stop looking at ourself as if it is just confined to a particular body and mind, as if we're just a person with a name and a history and a brief past who comes to earth, who's born and dies. What if we were to expand and treat our awareness, the very one that is hearing these words right now, that is seeing the screen right now, that is aware of these breaths that we are taking at this moment? What if we were to see that awareness as something beyond personal? And in tonight's experiment, that's exactly what we're looking at. Folks, if you're choosing breakthrough tonight, I need you to send this video to somebody who needs this conversation, because this conversation can be the very talk that changes their life. And so, folks, I want to head straight into this laboratory tonight. I'm ready to go straight there. Because for me, I'm telling you, dude, I just had this so I don't typically like dating the broadcast, but it's all right. Today's Father's Day, and this weekend is Father's Day weekend. And like when I first retired, when I first retired at 30, almost certainly 6 years, almost 7 years ago, like I was doing the most. I was going to all the restaurants, you know what I'm saying? I live in downtown Austin, so I was going to all the restaurants. I was doing all the things. There was no kids yet, you know what I'm saying? Like I was just doing it. And so it's like I could tell you every single restaurant in town that had the best food, the best cuisine, you dig what I'm saying? And so one of my favorite joints is a steakhouse down here. And I mean they serve more than just steak, but you know what I'm saying? Like it's a steakhouse, like seafood steakhouse, you know? And like yesterday I decided that yeah, I kind of I want something special for Father's Day. You know what I'm saying? My baby's turn is about to turn 2. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, okay, hey, I wanna let me get something special for Father's Day, especially after the year I just had last year. You know what I'm saying? Where it was like everything was falling apart. This year, okay, everything has been restored, and so I was like, okay, let's go get that, that num num, and like I leave, get in the car, go to this restaurant, and I'm standing in there, and the energy was just off. It was like you ever walk into a place and feel like there's a lot of judgment, like do you ever feel like it doesn't matter if it's just internal or if other people are actually looking at you like, you know what I'm saying, like what are you doing here? But there was just something off about the energy. It was remarkable how in tune I was about this decision to be in this space at this time is completely off purpose. I am here looking to consume products that I do not need, that is not going to help serve anything that I need to do here on the earth, in order to reward myself for doing what I love doing anyway. What the hell is this? Like, what am I doing? And so as I'm sitting in this restaurant and I'm just kind of like waiting for, you know what I'm saying, like waiting for the food to be done, I was like, this can't happen again. See, I'm getting to this place where I can tell the difference between and when I say the energy's off, it's like you can feel just like I can feel like all of this stress just moving up my neck. Like all of this, like just subtle, it's super subtle. It wasn't like anyone said anything that was off. It was just the interactions were just a little bit mechanical and robotic and just like it's been a minute since I've been outside. So I was like, what is this? What even like what is this? What is this interaction? And I can't remember if that's just how the world was before I basically stopped engaging with it or not. In 2025, I was basically in the house. So I come back outside and I'm like, okay, well, this something's off. I can't tell if it's me or it's them, but I know one thing, that when something feels off purpose, that's not a personality. That's not an ego telling me that I don't need to be in a place. That's something deeper than that. And so straight up, I was like, okay, look, we had, Father's Day brunch planned and all this. I had to tell Felicity, my wife Felicity's in the chat. I had to tell her, I was like, look, we got to cancel all this. And I don't know why. I was just like, it's just, I'm sitting here doing, and Felicity's just like, okay, I understand. Called, cancel the sitter, called, cancel the reservation, called, there was something about being in this, it was as if this deeper understanding, this deeper consciousness knows that my life is no longer mine anymore. And so to behave as if it is, even for a moment, even for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, to behave as if it is. Like my nervous system was just like, this ain't it. Nope, 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 this ain't it. Nope, this ain't it. Nope. And so I was like, okay, is this a message that's happening beyond the person? And if so, how can I make sure? How can I surrender the needs, the little desire, the wants of this person so that God's will may be done through the person? When I say God, I'm not talking about a guy in the sky. I'm talking about the deep unitary substance that governs all things, of which all things are made, and into which all things return. And so I was really having a moment. But I noticed this: the moment that we canceled everything. The moment we got back on purpose. The moment we and like when I say get it on purpose, I don't mean like always just doing something for making some YouTube video. I don't mean like that. I just mean that abiding in love, the kind of selfless love that just like the kind I was trying to show to Mia just a moment ago on the street. This kind of love that both takes care of the person but exists beyond the person, respects the person but exists beyond the person, is not operationalizing for the person but simply is operationalizing for the whole of which the person is a part. And so when I start feeling that kind of response, I'm like, oh man, when I'm in the restaurant, I start feeling that kind of stress creeping up. I'm like, oh boy, what kind of signal is this actually? I don't think of myself as a high anxiety person, but I understood what it was like to be one of them cats while I was in this restaurant, you know what I'm saying? And so it was like, wow, why am I here anyway? Why am I inside this, my favorite restaurant in the city? Why am I here? Oh, it's because I was thinking about satisfying my own personal wants. I was thinking of myself as an individual. Even if it's just 10 minutes, 15 minutes, it's something simple. Hey, just put the order in for me. I'm about to go pick it up. Just put the order in for me. I'm about to go get it. But upon whose identity, who is choosing to pursue that one? Is it loving awareness or is it a personal self? The same self that can be the same personal self, the tiny self, the one that can be offended. I was making these decisions based off of, in that moment, this is only about 10, 15 minutes, but in that moment, I made this decision based off of this tiny self. I was like, oh boy, that's not going to fly. The penalties for me making decisions based off the tiny self are growing more and more and more and more energetically every year for me. Damn near every day. Like it's growing like the penalties for looking to make a decision based off of my own individual ego, which is really what we're talking about when we're talking about a tiny self. The penalties for making my decisions based off of the ego, they have consequences that drain my body of its life force. It's not as if the universe is trying to punish me. It's not that just creates more ego. I'm just saying simply that when X occurs, Y follows. You dig what I'm saying? When I make decisions based off the ego, my nervous system responds with anxiety, dread, stress. And even though it's so subtle, the kind of subtle anxiety that You would barely notice if you weren't tapped into your own thoughts and emotions throughout the day. And that's why this question tonight is so profound. Because if we can have that moment where we stop and depersonalize, allow this truer self, the one that is the awareness, the one that is the consciousness, allow this truer self to emerge and step forward. Not that we need to try and destroy the ego, but simply see reality clearly. That this personal self can get offended, can take life personally. And if we wanted to honor life truly, to honor existence truly, which is to say to honor ourselves truly, then the ability to liberate our seemingly personal awareness from personhood, from the ideas of who we think we are, oh my gosh, that could be so immense. That's why tonight's laboratory question, we're asking what happens when awareness stops being personal, when we stop treating the self as if the self is personal. It's such an interesting, we stop treating ourself as if ourself is ourself. Hmm. This is the kind of thing that you have to experience in order to understand. We can't get this out of a book. Ain't no book for this. This is us returning to a place where we can simply look and experience this truth for ourselves. Because I know this, there was just something about being off purpose. When I say off purpose, I mean off of God's will, off of following love, off of that, that's what purpose is, off of being lived by nature. You do what I'm saying? Off of the natural way. However you like to say this. You could say just not seeing reality clearly. When I was making a decision like that, I was like, I'm asking myself, like, what am I doing? What am I doing? As I'm sitting here trying to sign out and sign the check, you know what I'm saying, and do all this stuff. I'm like, what's going on here? Why am I doing it? It's because I was acting based off of the ego, based off of the personality. And we do not turn the ego into a problem. We just want to make sure that we're seeing reality clearly. Because while the ego is not a problem, not being able to see the ego clearly is. You dig what I'm saying? And so tonight's exercise is meant to do just that, to bring us into a space where we are seeing beyond the person that we might learn to stop taking life so personally, to deal in life fully without taking it personally. It's the gift I was looking to give to Mia, but tonight it'll have to be for you. And so, folks, at this time, this is the time to find a comfortable place. As we enter into the laboratory, of course, the laboratory always happens within. For the kingdom of heaven is within, you understand? So we're going to take our attention within. And as we head into the conscious transformation laboratory tonight, it's so important to find a place where you can hear and listen and sit in quiet. Find a comfortable place If you are seated, you are sitting, hands on your lap, feet shoulder width apart, and your back straight. I find it helpful to think of an imaginary string coming from the top of the ceiling, attaching into the crown of your head, and holding your body up all by itself. This simple visualization just helps to straighten the back so that you have breath support, appropriate blood flow, and that your energy is circulating appropriately. Tongue on the roof of your mouth, the ancient Taoists say. The tongue on the roof of the mouth connects the energy circuitry of the head with the rest of the body. I say it's simply comfortable. If you are standing feet shoulder width apart, hips slightly tucked under, toes slightly turned inward, and seeing that string come from the ceiling and attach to the top of the crown of your head. That string is holding your entire body up. You can relax your shoulders and allow your back to straighten on its own. Tongue at the roof of your mouth. If you are laying down flat on your back with your chin tilted slightly upward. This aligns your spine and facilitates concentration. Tip of the tongue attaches to the roof of your mouth. And at this time, we are ready to move into our conscious transformation laboratory. This is the part where we go inward and allow spirit to guide us to a level higher. Let's begin. Take one deep breath in with me. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. You may close your eyes. At this time, become aware of the darkness behind your eyelids. Without opening your eyes. Follow this darkness behind your eyelids, down through your cheeks, your neck, chest, belly, hips, thighs, calves, feet, The same darkness behind your eyelids, see it stretch throughout your entire body. It is as if the inside of your body looks exactly like the external universe. That is, the darkness on the inside of your body looks exactly like the darkness that is present in outer space. Treat the darkness inside of your body as if it is the very darkness of outer space. With your eyes closed, you are seeing into the very universe at this moment. Abide here. Notice how vast this infinite dark space stretches. Notice how the body itself disappears in this darkness. There is nothing but this infinite space into which you are looking. Notice that this infinite space stretches far beyond the limits of the body. Feel into this space now. Notice how far you can feel beyond the limits of the physical body now. You are connected to the entire cosmos in this moment. Indeed, you are the entire cosmos in this very moment. Notice what you feel as you stare into this infinite cosmos. within. Notice what you feel as this infinite cosmos within seems to stretch and connect as the infinite cosmos without. At this time, become aware of the awareness that is watching this infinite cosmos within. Simply become aware of being aware. Within the space of this infinite cosmos, see if you can find where awareness is. See if you can find any place where awareness exists as an object that you can see. You notice that you can't. You notice that no matter where you look, awareness can never be found. Awareness simply is. Were the body to fall away, this awareness would remain. See that your awareness, which cannot be located in space, is therefore beyond space. See that your awareness, which cannot be located in time, is beyond time. Even an infinite cosmos may come and go. But the awareness that watches is eternal. Look now. See for yourself. Because awareness does not exist inside of a person as an object. Awareness is beyond objectifying. Awareness is beyond the person. This awareness of which you are currently aware exists beyond time, space, and persons. Abide in this spaciousness. Notice that all thoughts, emotions, and ideas appear before this awareness. But no thought, idea, or emotion can affect this awareness. Because this awareness is always aware. This awareness watches all thoughts, ideas, and emotions come and go. Yet this awareness remains. Notice when a thought appears in your infinite spaciousness. You do not need to hide the thought or chase the thought away. Simply allow the thought to appear. Remain as this awareness and simply allow the thought to disappear as if the thought were a cloud passing through the sky. Return to this infinite cosmos. Return to this spaciousness. And as you do, simply remain aware of awareness itself. Simply remain aware of this timeless, dimensionless awareness. Now, what if this awareness did not belong to you? What if this awareness did not belong to you? Rather, instead, you, the person, simply appear in this awareness. The person comes and goes, but this awareness remains forever. You can feel this awareness as I am. Yet this I am imagine that it is not personal, that the person could be born and pass away, and yet this I am would remain. This I am remains. Rest as that one. Now, when events happen, they do not happen to awareness. Events only happen to the objects that awareness is aware of. See this? Awareness exists beyond any event. Awareness exists beyond any event. Aware of awareness. View this inner cosmos as if it were the outer cosmos. Bring your attention back into the center of your body, back behind the darkness, behind your eyelids. Maintaining your awareness of awareness. Take one deep inhale in with me. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. And when you're ready, you may open your eyes. Folks, that one experience was interesting. I want to know exactly what your experience was like. Put that in the chat. For me, connecting the inner cosmos with the outer cosmos, I began to feel this like massive expansion, but it wasn't like something that exploded out. It was more like what would happen if if like the front of your body just kind of disappeared and now all of a sudden the space within and the space without are the same. I definitely felt that. But then when we got to the part where the transmission was asking us to treat our own awareness as if it existed beyond events, to treat our own awareness as if it existed beyond events, I had this moment where I was like, oh, okay, situations, problems, events never happen to this awareness, this very one that is connected with inside and out. This very awareness that cannot be found anywhere in the body. It's not like I can just look up, roll my eyes into the back of my head and find out, oh, there's a light up there where awareness is. Like, there's no place where I can experience awareness as an object. And yet, without this awareness, all of reality disappears, which is why we can say that awareness and reality must be one, because one cannot exist without the other. Reality cannot exist without awareness, right? So we return to that awareness when I saw that the events, whatever trepidations, whatever moments of anxiety, whatever moments of stress, they never happen to awareness. They only happen to a concept of a person that I'm maintaining. They only happen to this collection of thoughts, sensations, and feelings I call the person, I call the me, so to speak. There's a difference between the I am and the me. So it was like when I started seeing that the events never affect the awareness, And I began to identify as that awareness. There was one other thing. I saw that in the awareness, there was no, the transmission was asking us to see the awareness as if it was not our own, as if it was not my own. To see awareness not as in I am aware, but as in awareness is. And from time to time to time, this version, this little fluctuation of sensations and appearances called the me appears within this infinite awareness. And yet the infinite awareness is who I deeply feel I am. You understand? So it's like the I am is watching this little me, this little one that is on your screen. You dig what I'm saying? And so identified as that I am, it started being real difficult to to even treat my memories like the one of being in the restaurant this past week or yesterday. It started being difficult to treat my memories as if they were real. It's like if the I am becomes if the I am takes precedent when it comes to the forefront, the me and the events that affect me become ephemeral. You know what I'm saying? They become as ephemeral as like smoke, as gas, as like a they just become like atmospheric nothingness. They just, it's like I could still feel that there was a little bit of tension to start, but even as I'm going back and I'm remembering and recalling the sensation of I am, that tension starts to look less and less like tension. It starts to look like hot air, like a series of passing sensations. Our question tonight is what happens when you stop taking life personally? Our exercise was really about dropping the person and stepping into this awareness, allowing the awareness itself to stop being personal, to stop thinking of consciousness as if it belongs to a body that has a name, as if it belongs to a person that has a name and a story and a birth date and a death date and all the things. You dig? I started seeing that there's this cosmos within was identical with the cosmos without. That was cool. That and closing the eyes and going so far in is the same thing as going so far out, and that even all of that infinite space that feels like it's inside of that inner cosmos, which is of course the outer cosmos as well, that itself could come and go, and yet the awareness that is aware of it would remain. That there is no infinite cosmos to experience without awareness. And that because this awareness is the same as the I am, placing my attention on it reduces the effects of the troubled me, reduces the suffering of the troubled me. You dig what I'm saying? I wanted to stay with that one for more time. I wanted to sit in that just for a little bit more time. I started seeing it, that exercise working on my mind or the mind of this so-called person. You understand? And so if we're dealing with this question, what happens when awareness stops being personal? For me, I saw that again, the trials and tribulations of the so-called me, of the person, they dissipate. Their volume, I should say, turns down. I wanted to stay in it just a little bit more. It's like the volume of all that turns down. Hmm. Also, I mean, I'm getting this right now too. Like, I also get the sense that there's way more that we can do with these minds than we ever thought possible. Like, outside of that, it seems like there's a productive space that's opening up. Like, when I connect the inside with outside, I can feel this infinite cosmos. It feels like there can be some magic that's possible to do there. You know what I'm saying? When I say magic, I mean like there's maybe like tools or inventions. There's stuff that we can do by moving outside of the boundaries of expected perception, perhaps information to be accessed, ideas that can be accessed that otherwise wouldn't have been. It feels like we're like if you ever read the Kabbalion, which is a hermetic text, or really it's a text about hermetics, and of course the hermetics is the mystery school philosophies of ancient Kemet. Really, the foundational philosophy of all modern spiritual thought across religions. I mean, the Persians got the game from the Egyptians. The Greeks got the game from the Egyptians. You know what I'm saying? There were so many people who were. The Romans got the game from the. There's so many people who get the who come built their spiritual traditions from this original Hermetic tradition and school of thought. But anyway, so if you're ever reading the Kybalion, it was written probably over 100 years ago. But they talk about these new levels of mind. I think they say something like the human being of today, the average human lives in like the third level of mind, or I think it's the fourth level of mind. And then there are some people who are even lower than that. And then, there are some people who are advancing over into the fifth dimension of mind. But those are like really advanced people who are in the fifth dimension of mind. And then there are some people who've ascended into the sixth, seventh, and eighth dimensions of mind. And then there are beings that exist, wow, the 12th, 14th, 28th, 38th, you know what I'm saying? There's all these different beings that are imperceptible to us, but can access these different and higher dimensions of reality and therefore of higher possibility as a result. And so Whether or not you think that is true or not is not my point. It's only that I can sense that there is a productive capacity by abiding in this I am. I cannot tell you what that is today, but it's like I kind of got a glimpse of a different level of mind, a glimpse into the next level of mind itself. Of course, awareness exists beyond all minds, but as a result of that, all the minds exist within this awareness, and so it's like each one can be accessible. So I felt like I was touching a bit of that. Okay, let's go to our breakthrough board. Let's hit our breakthrough board. Okay. Okay, hold on. Let me check this chat right quick. Okay. Listen to that word personally. What does that? Yeah, okay. So what does that really do to one when they feel that way? Frog Soup is saying when awareness stops being personal, you are free from the constraints of the human experience. Yeah, I felt that too. Yeah, when awareness stops being personal, you are free from the constraints of the human experience. I felt that too. Let's see. Folks, tonight we are working, of course, from the breakthrough board. The breakthrough board is where we will chart our principle, our pattern, and our path for the evening. I like to teach from principle because if I can understand the principle behind a phenomenon, then I can understand how to chart my own path forward, regardless of whatever else I know. And so when we are working with this question tonight, what happens when awareness stops being personal? And the reason we're asking is because we have a different question, which is what happens when you stop taking life personally? The principle tonight that we're working with is going to be found by turning within. And as you think about your experience tonight, allow for out of those dimensions of mind, allow for the appropriate answer to surface. In order to do this, we must get quiet and again turn within. Our question is what happens when awareness stops being personal? That answer must answer also the question what happens when you stop taking life so personally? I'm getting a bunch of answers that are obvious. So I'm going to take an extra moment and see if I can go deeper. Hmm. Okay. 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 I'm getting this. Okay. Okay. I'm about to say it like this. This is how it's coming to me. Okay. So here it is. The principle for tonight. We've asked the question, what happens when awareness stops being personal? That's the research question for the evening. And what is appearing for me right now is this, that the me, the person that I take myself to be, or that I was previously taking myself to be, begins to become lived through by God. When I say God, I'm not talking about a guy in the sky. I'm talking about the deep fabric of existence. I'm talking about awareness. I'm talking about the I am. So once the me can recede, I can become the me, this person, this animated flow of appearance, sensations, sound, this perception that we call a person can now be lived through by God. Folks, I've been studying, of all things, I've been studying Christianity, you know what I'm saying, a lot, and looking just at like how its historical roots, where it came from, the Roman Catholic Church, you know what I'm saying? I've been studying a lot of that. I remember I was having a conversation with somebody, and this person was taking the story of the Christ returning as if it were like that she thought it was a literal deal. She thought that there was going to be a guy who came back and kind of saved the world. And I remember getting this feeling in that moment that when we talk about the Christ, Christ comes from in the ancient world, it would have been language that was being filtered and coming from the South into Europe, for example. And so Christ, you could understand as connected with the word Krishna. So Christ was really like it was like a label. It was like a title for like the illuminated one, the Messiah, the one that rescues you from foolishness, from being mistaken. The Greek word for sin is to misunderstand. So the Christ rescues you from misunderstanding, living a life where you are misunderstanding what reality is. And so in that moment, I was feeling like, yes, wait, when each of us is capable of surrendering the me, that that God would be able to speak through, to act through, so much so that there is no longer, when I've surrendered the me, and there's no longer anything impeding God's will, that means God's will is moving straight through me to the point where there is no distinction between my actions and God's will. You understand? In that case, in that sense, in that moment, the Christ has returned, right? That Christ consciousness, that greater illuminated awareness has returned. And if each person on the planet is doing that, then guess what? At that moment, you have the second coming. Because in that moment, Christ has returned through to the planet fully through the human organism. And so tonight is in keeping with that very thinking, that the return of this awareness means the perception that I call the me That me gets surrendered, and what happens, what flows through is this greater fundamental fabric expressing itself, accounting for the needs of the me, but accounting for so much more than that. So tonight's principle is about the me that becomes lived through by God when awareness stops being personal. When I stop thinking of, when I can lose the self consciousness and just step into true consciousness, the organism simply does what is natural without looking to grab for the objects, the events, the items, the people that the organism believes is somehow going to fulfill it. The me is lived through by God. And of course, by God, I don't mean God in the sky. I mean supreme nature. I mean supreme reality. That which, if it disappeared, everything else would disappear. The other word for that is awareness. There was a moment today, as like now that's coming back to me, there's like a moment today where I was sitting on the couch and I was thinking like, Felicity, did I say this to you? I think I was sitting on the couch and I was just kind of like looking up at the ceiling and just kind of looking around, and we had the music playing, the jazz music, all that, just kind of relaxing. And I was like, this world has nothing more to offer me. Like the creature comforts of this world, there's nothing, there's no more getting that's going to feel good. It doesn't mean that there's no more things to do, there's no more expression, there's no more love to express, there's no more things to create or whatever. It's not that. It's just that whatever I'm doing is not done for the things that I get. They're done for their own sake because they are expression of this greater depth. And I can only arrive there when the me is lived through by something greater than me. Because the me is going to have all kinds of wants. The me's wants come and go. I mean, those wants just continue. They continue. They continue. It's what had me up in the restaurant the other day. And yet I get home, I eat the stuff, I do the thing, and I'm just kind of like, the moment that it's consumed is the moment I forget about it. And it's like, oh, these creature comforts, the five-star dining experiences that were so cool to me 6, 7 years ago are today hollow. Like there's no getting that's ever good enough now. Because once this awareness stops being personal, there's only one thing that satisfies. There's only one thing that really satisfies in the first place. So I get to this place where I'm like, yeah, this me that is lived through, it's just the me that is lived through by God. It begins to understand that there's no more, like the getting itself, the getting in and of itself is no longer good. Which means that anything that I'm going to do, or anything that is done must be done for its own sake, simply because that is the expression of nature in that moment. That is the expression of love in that moment. That is the expression of the reality of the totality in that moment. The reality of the totality is the name for God. This is just another name for it. As is love and consciousness and awareness, all these things are all the same thing. So this me that is lived through by God is what appears when the awareness no longer is personal. So our question, of course, at the top of the hour was what happens when you stop taking life personally? And the principle still maintains itself. That the me that was formerly taking life so personally begins to become lived through by God, which means that that me begins to recede into the background, and supreme reality begins to flood the foreground. There's a peace in this. There's a peace in this. I got to this place today where I was like, or rather, I saw again today in a deeper place, from a deeper perspective, from a deeper position, that the getting is no longer good. Like we talk about things being a means to an end, and moving and transitioning to things being an end in of themselves, an end in and of themselves. So I get restored back into alignment where I'm no longer doing things to get things. There's just the doing. The Taoists call this the Wei Wu Wei, the doing, non doing. We're talking about surrendering unto nature so that, and by nature I mean supreme reality, surrendering unto supreme reality so that there's no longer any fight, any effort in trying to do things to get things. There's just the doing. It's just pure action. It's just pure rest, and not in a way that is trying to become, that's trying to aggrandize an ego, that's trying to aggrandize a me, but just one that is literally flowing with nature. So, our principle, the me is lived through by God. We need to talk about the pattern. We understand the principle that when awareness stops being personal, the me, the flow of sensations and perceptions that I called me, begins to become lived through by God. This person begins to become lived through by supreme reality. Excellent. So, what's the pattern? What's the reason that we get into trouble in the first place with all this? When I can understand the pattern behind a thing, then I can interrupt that pattern. I can break that pattern. I can step through that pattern, step around that pattern. I can overcome that pattern. But I need to first recognize the pattern. And so tonight we're asking ourselves the question, following our principle, we're asking ourselves, what is the pattern? When I stop taking life personally, the principle is that the me begins to become lived through by God. And perhaps that's what we saw with Tamia just a little bit, just a small glimpse of like, wait, what is natural in this moment, what is supremely natural in this moment is to recognize this love that is also available for the person, and recognize when an adjustment is necessary and required. The ego is a part of the play, folks. I think there's a lot of talk, at least there used to be a lot of talk about trying to transcend the ego, trying to get beyond, you know what I'm saying? Transcending the ego is cool, but trying to like destroy the ego. Now, the ego is a part of the game. And Supreme Reality has love also for this ego, for this one that is called a person. Supreme Reality can also adjust for this person, but also adjust beyond the person. And when it is time for the days of the person to come to their end, Supreme Reality folds the person back into itself. So that perhaps a new game can begin. Okay, so we're dealing with our pattern right now. Our principle is that the me becomes lived through by God, but what's the pattern here? How do we get into trouble in the first place with all this? Look for the pattern. Okay, the pattern came up pretty quick for me. All right, so let me say it like this. I'm gonna put it like this. Here we go. I'm gonna put it like this. All right. I'm gonna put it like this, Chandler. Living for me equals suffering. You dig what I'm saying? If I live life, I'll put life up here. I want to make sure we're clear on that. If I'm living life for me, that's definitely going to end in this suffering deal. If I am living life trying to do things in order to get things because I want to get a lot of money or because I want to get a lot of status or because I want to get a bunch of accolades, like, or just because I want comforts. If I'm living life for me, that will create suffering because at that point, this is where we get to what Twain was saying earlier. This is where we get that life is happening to me, not for me. Because if I'm living life for me, then any event that stands in the way of me getting what I want seems like it is necessarily happening to me. It's an obstacle. How dare you get in my way? Naturally, that leads to this sense of suffering. However, if I'm willing to surrender this, if I'm willing to depersonalize my own sense of awareness, my own sense of consciousness, it's no longer self consciousness, it's no longer an awareness that belongs to me. It's the awareness that the me belongs to. This me becomes an instrument of this greater supreme nature. This me becomes an instrument of this greater God. In which case, the events that come along, they're no longer something that's happening to me because there's not really a me that's any longer invested in the event. There's not like it's no the event is no longer an obstacle because I'm no longer invested in the goal that I was living my life for. When I say invested in the goal, I don't mean that I stop give up on goals. I mean that I'm no longer doing things in order to get things, the things become, if I'm doing something, it means that it's being done for its own sake because it in and of itself is loving to do. That is the core lesson of my life. It's the lesson that I have to learn again and again at deeper and deeper levels. It is the core lesson. But I'm telling you this, when the lesson is honored, then I stop living life for me. And in that moment, no matter whatever else is going on, the suffering, that ends too. So our pattern tonight is that we're living life. When you're living life for me, for the tiny self, for the ego, for the perception, that sense of self, that the person that you believe you are, oh no, that's going to end in the suffering deal. Okay, so that's the pattern. Now, of course, we're looking for our path forward. Our principle was that when we stop seeing awareness as being personal, the me, the person, can finally be lived through by God. Excellent. The pattern was that when we make the mistake of living life for me, suffering becomes inevitable. And life feels like it's happening to me. So, what's the path? The path forward. What's the path forward? To find the path forward, of course, we always go within. Hmm. Ooh, okay. All right. Let me try this. Okay. Uh, Let me try this. And this path forward, one of the things that stuck out to me tonight inside of our lab experiment was this question: what if the I, we could also say the me, that tiny self, what if this me, what if I belong to awareness? Rather than thinking that awareness is something that is an afterthought, is something I'm not even thinking about. Honestly, if you ask most people about awareness, people are like, what do you mean? Yeah, I'm aware. I can see it. Yeah, okay. We say, I am aware. And that's largely correct. But what I'm saying is like, what if we saw awareness as impersonal and we say, no, 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 this me belongs to it. And if in that moment that was our reminder to surrender to this supreme reality, this pure, unified nature, to remind ourselves that there is no more good in just getting, that all the things that we're striving for, trying to get after, If any action is to be taken, it is to be taken on behalf of itself, fully conscious. It is not in service of me, it is in service of this pure expression of what we would call love, but for tonight, we're just talking about this full expression of this larger awareness, this deeper awareness. If in the moment I start thinking, what if I belong to awareness, then that means that whatever this person is being lived by something greater. I want to be able to put my attention just back on that greater source. This question helps our path forward. What if I or the me belongs to awareness? If in that moment I can sense that by asking this question, I can sense that this person must come and go, that its primary satisfaction is in being lived through by supreme nature, by the great I am, that the dance that is called personhood, the dance that is called the person, can have its happening, but understanding that it is being powered by, animated by this greater force that is timeless, that cannot be found as an object, and so therefore is objectless, dimensionless. In that moment, I start to see that the world that we've been conditioned to want to succeed in no longer has anything for me. It is more like the world is more like a playground meant for this deeper awareness to express itself. You see that the world is more like a playground meant for this deeper awareness to express itself, to play, more so than it is an arena for me to be trying to grab a whole bunch of attention and money and hoarding and whatever. And so, returning back to Tamia, who we saw at the beginning of the evening, if she could ask this very question, what if I belong to awareness? Her decision to exit her relationship with the roommate, or at least the rental agreement, all that can still happen. And I'm seeing it now that in being lived by this awareness and being merely expressing this supreme nature, it's just, it becomes obvious when it's okay to act on behalf of the personal needs of the person, of the personal self, are still accounted for. There's nothing gets lost. But those personal needs no longer become supreme, which means that if they are ever threatened, we don't experience suffering in the same way. What if I belong to this awareness. I personally begin to see that the world has nothing left to offer. In fact, the world is more, the world morphs into more of a playground for this awareness, this wholeness, this love to express itself fully and completely. That's our path forward. Excellent. Excellent. Just to recap, our question was, what happens when we stop seeing awarenesses being personal? Our principle for the evening was that the me becomes lived through by God, and by God I mean supreme reality, supreme nature. I mean awareness. The pattern was that when we are living for the me, we forget that we are lived by something greater, then that's when the suffering happens. The path forward was to ask a simple question: what if I am being lived by awareness? What if I belong to awareness? If I belong to awareness, then that means that this person is here to express this deeper awareness, which shifts the perception of the world from a place that needs to be exploited to a playground where pure expression can happen, where the pure expression of the totality of reality can happen. Mm. Mhm. That's profound. Mm. This is easily the most important reframing. It's like every year I feel like I learn the same lessons over and over again at a deeper and deeper and deeper level. And so, what if we were to go into our day instead of thinking like, oh man, I got all this stuff I gotta do. I gotta hit all this checklist. I gotta hit all this stuff. We went into our day with a fundamentally new reorientation to reality where we said, you know what, today is just going to be about expressing. But every day is like that. It's not like just as like a retreat that we go on. No, no, no. Every single day is I'm here to be lived through by God. I'm here to be lived through by the great way, by supreme nature, by supreme reality. I'm here to be lived through by the great I am. I'm here to be aware and lived through by awareness. The other way I say that is I'm here to be lived through by love itself. That changes what a calendar looks like, what a schedule looks like, what work looks like. Even if you're doing the work that you love, sometimes you can get into the work that you love and start approaching it with extractable precision. Like I'm trying to get something out of it. I want to make money off of this. I want status off of this. You dig what I'm saying? Like when all of that stuff can, it can be a part of the story, but it doesn't. What we're talking about is coming through with a different orientation where it's not about getting, it's about expressing. The expression is already here to express. Getting is something that is still at a distance. Don't have it yet, therefore need to go get. You dig what I'm saying? But expression is already here. And so that expression, when that becomes the modus operandi, the primary mechanism by which we live our lives, oh my God, I can just sense that deep sense of like, there is nothing else. Anything else is a waste of time because it requires me not seeing reality clearly. However, to return to this notion of expression, I am here to express this great divine. The other way to say that is I'm here to get out of my own way so I can express, allow God to be lived through me, to allow for the return of Christ. And Christ, of course, we're talking about supreme consciousness. Okay, folks, y'all got me on one. Y'all got me on one. Y'all here at Wonderful Nights, there, might I say, fundamental 101, like in university. Like in university. Excellent. Twin saying, I hear that, receive that. Absolutely. Um, okay, so Twin saying, so you're saying scratch the surface more and assume awareness? Yeah, but like assume awareness as impersonal, as if it is the guiding force of the universe that is being lived through you. You dig what I'm saying? That the you is a temporary appearance within this awareness and its highest use, the highest use of this thing called you, as in the you as a person, the highest use is this very surrender unto the supreme ultimate. Some waves are harder, some are more pleasant, but it's all part of the bigger picture, the ocean itself. Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. Beautiful. Hold on, y'all. Y'all hear that? Y'all, hold on, dude. Man, somebody over here kicking the door in. Hold on, man. Smelling like pizza, bro. Hold on. See this. Man, you know who came through on tonight. It's Breakthrough Turtle. Every week, Breakthrough Turtle comes through on Divine Turtle Time. This week, Breakthrough Turtle is saying what? Oh, that's right. Breakthrough Turtle is saying that he has something that is going to relate so well to our lesson tonight. And in order to get the breakthrough, first, you got to break him open. Let me see that thing, B. Okay, all right, good looking. B, every so often, you've been challenging me over these past couple weeks, but in a good way. All right, so here you go, B. He giving us this right here, you know. It's like, okay, dang, see, I don't want to rip your stuff up. All right, so here, that's what he got for me. It says, knock, and he'll open the door. Vanish, and he'll make you shine like the sun. Fall, and he'll raise you to the heavens. Become nothing, and he'll turn you into everything. Jalal ad-Din Rumi. I'm getting goosebumps. Breakthrough. Turtle. Okay, let me go again. Knock, and he'll open the door. Vanish, and he'll make you shine like the sun. Fall, and he'll rise you to the heavens. Become nothing, and he'll turn you into everything. Oh my gosh, breakthrough turtle. Okay. Rumi is a Persian Sufi mystic. Okay, so when he's talking about heal, like as in he will, he's talking about he as in Allah, which we could just say the supreme ultimate, the Godhead, same thing. We are all talking about the same supreme one. Knock and he'll open the door, which means to say that if you approach this supreme nature, what we are calling awareness tonight, this impersonal awareness, the supreme consciousness, or what I call supreme awareness, if you approach it, it will open itself to you. It is knowable. Knock and he'll open the door. Awareness opens that door. Consciousness opens that door. Vanish and he'll make you shine like the sun. When he says vanish, who's he talking about? Is he talking about the me? When the tiny self, when the me, the person vanishes, the only thing that is left is that radiant light of supreme nature, that radiant light of God itself, that radiant light of awareness, the illumined one, lived through you, which means that you shine like the sun, even brighter, because the sun even is only illumined by awareness. Even the sun itself fades into nothingness if awareness disappears. So when he says vanish, he's saying the tiny me vanishes and he'll make you shine like the sun, not because you become brighter, but because you are lived through by that which illumines all. But because you are lived through by that which illumines all, you see why the ancients would often make the sun the ultimate reference. The sun was meant to be a metaphor for consciousness, for awareness, the light of the world, literally, which is to say that without consciousness, the entire world disappears. Well, what's a smaller example of that? The actual sun, the star that this planet rotates around, if that thing disappears, then life on this planet disappears. You dig what I'm saying? So it is the sun is the light of the world, but awareness is the light of reality itself. Vanish and he'll make you shine like the sun, because that which shines through you is brighter than the sun. You understand? So fall and he'll raise you to the heavens, which is to say that when my failures happen in personhood, when the person fails, when I fail as a person, I remember that I am here to be lived through to express this supreme nature. And I find that in expressing this supreme nature, I become a part of supreme nature. as divine as the heavens themselves. So even my falls become an opportunity to be lived through by this great eternity, this infinite one. For lack of a better term, people have called it God. Become nothing and he'll turn you into everything, which is to say, when the me finally is lived through by God, when it stops living for itself, when I stop living life for me, when I'm willing to become nothing, the all in all can live now through the person. The all in all can now shine itself through me. In that way, when I have become nothing and surrendered, the I am turns the me into everything because the I am simply turns me into itself, which is already everything, already the full cosmic fabric, the totality of reality. Breakthrough Turtle, you done did it again, bro. Breakthrough Turtle, you done did it again, B. Dang. Wow, 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 wow. Mm. Folks, what a reminder. What a powerful interaction. Covered from our lab experiment tonight, seeing the power of what happens when we stop living for me, stop living for the self. When we can stop living for the me, we can stop taking life so personally. When we stop living for the person, we can stop taking life so personally. Say it again. When we stop living for the person, we can start and stop taking life so personally. If we stop living for the person, we can stop taking life so personally. One of the cornerstone exercises for tonight was standing as this impersonal awareness, asking ourselves that question: what if the I belongs to awareness? What if this me belongs to awareness? What if this person is merely meant to be? This person and all of its actions are merely meant to be an expression of this greater supreme ultimate, this greater reality, this supreme awareness, this ultimate recognition. What if the person is meant to be an expression of this love, an expression of God? Ooh. If all I have to do is surrender, then, as Rumi says, vanish, and he'll make you into everything. Hmm. Done came, shown up, and shown out. Absolutely, twin. Indeed, 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 indeed. Beat it through the turtles in the chat for you. Oh man, 11:11, divine timing. Hmm. They got the pizzas in there too, you know what I'm saying? You got to make them hungry. Folks, maybe that's why, and as I always say, if fear is our only enemy, then we bring heaven to earth when we transform our minds. I'm Dr. Shawn, and we were not sent to impress our people. We were sent to transform our people into a light for the world. For God's universe opens to all who believe in breakthrough.